This NBA offseason has been both exciting and boring at certain parts, and one of the reasons why it's exciting is been the Rudy Gobert trade, a trade that basically changed how we view trades for years to come, but we're not going to get into that today. The reason why is because the Minnesota Timberwolves, a team that's been stuck in NBA purgatory for years now, finally made a decision on what direction they're going and how they're going to move forward. And one of the players they traded was Jared Vanderbilt, who was the glue guy for their defense last year, and even though you got Rudy Gobert, it made a lot of people question, are you going to get that type of perimeter defender again? And I give you Jaden McDaniels.
Clark, another offensive rebound, blocked by McDaniels.
Point shot. McGruder rejected by McDaniels.
Beasley, McLaughlin. Inside, McDaniels. Oh, right in the face of Jackson.
Today we're going to talk about Jaden McDaniels and the extreme amount of potential I think he has myself, and how I think he may work in their offense and how this team runs next season, and why I think he's probably going to be one of the biggest reasons why this team probably becomes a 50-win team in the Western Conference. Let's get into it. If we're going to talk about Jaden McDaniels, we're talking about a tale of three stories: the beginning of the season, midway, and towards the end of the year when the Timberwolves went on that little run in the second half of the season. And Jaden McDaniels starting out the season, let's just say it wasn't the prettiest form of basketball we've seen from him and from this Minnesota Timberwolves team, because in the first 20 games of the season, he only had 6.2 points per game, 4.5 rebounds, not even an assist, 1.0 steals, a 0.6 blocks, on 41% shooting and 26% from three, all while committing 3.8 fouls per game in only 25 minutes per game. Definitely not the most, or at least the most impactful numbers. And while his offensive numbers are lackluster at best, those fouls are also a large problem in his game that kind of persists throughout the entire year, even though other things got better. He's a very long and sometimes he's very uncontrollable, and he's a young guy, so he gets his hand stuck in the cookie jar, sometimes either trying to hand check or reach for fouls, which led to a 4.9% foul rate, which ranked him in the 8th percentile in the entire NBA, which is not good in the slightest. When you have ticky-tack fouls like that, it leads teams to go to the free throw line early, and now you have to fight through the bonus and fight through teams getting easy points at the line when you could be completely avoided if you just played straight up defense. But after being sidelined for about 3 games and taking about a good 6 or so to really get back in the groove and nursing that injury, Jaden McDaniels took off during this season. At around December 19th, he had a 12-point game against the Dallas Mavericks, and that just led to a string of double-digit performances and extremely great defensive showings for him. And in that run, he averaged 11 points per game, 4.1 rebounds, 1.5 assists, 0.7 steals, 0.9 blocks on 48% shooting, 31% from 3 on only 27 minutes a game. And while those numbers don't jump off of you at the page to some extreme, you have to understand that the mix of offensive potential and defensive ability at the time, while lowering the fouls to only 2.8 per game, he was showing not only improvements during the season, but what he could definitely be on this team as a tertiary player behind Cat, D'Angelo Russell, and Anthony Edwards. And in the third part of the season, after the All-Star break, he played his best basketball. While he only played 11 games, and then he got sidelined for another 8 because of his ankle. Again, he still averaged 11.9 points, 4.4 rebounds, 1 assist, 1.2 blocks on 53% shooting and 38% from 3. Again, his best shooting time, and even though it's a small sample size, it showed improvement throughout the year in what he definitely could be as a 3-and-D wing, or even just a multifaceted offensive player on this team, because he's not just a shooter. And overall, this culminated in him averaging 9.2 points, 4.2 rebounds, 1.1 assists, 0.7 steals, 0.8 blocks, only 3.2 fouls per game, which still ranks him in the 4.9 percentile, but it was a lot lower than beginning of the season, and which shows improvement on 46% shooting and 32% from 3. Overall improvements across the board, while showing a lot of defensive promise and what he could be given more responsibility, and I think he'll have that going into this year as a starting small forward. And this is where I think he'll fit so perfectly for this team. So let's get into the deeper intricacies of his game, since I just gave you the raw numbers. As of right now, Jaden McDaniels is a defensive jewel that just needs to be refined a little bit. Again, that foul rating is a big problem, but overall, being that long player and being young and always being energetic, sometimes will get you in those fouling situations, and you hope that this is just something that he learns from and slowly gets better throughout his career. But his defensive versatility overall, combined with his length, agility, and instincts on the defensive end, is absolutely insane. Because according to Basketball Index, Jaden McDaniels is one of the only 3 players in the past season to be an A- and higher grade on-ball defense and rim protecting metrics in the entire season. And Basketball Index is one of the best places to get advanced stats, which shows Jaden McDaniels' insane ability to not only be a rim protector and help on the weak side while being a great on-ball defender and blocking shots that way. Overall, the man just uses extreme length and instincts and agility to slide and get in front of the biggest wings and be a menace to smaller guards. And on the other end, he's able to have some great weak side instincts and come up behind players before they realize it to get some crucial blocks. Overall, the man is a great defender. He's great at switching onto guards because of his quick feet, and he's great at hailing bigs because he has a lot of length. And overall, he did get a little bit pushed around because, again, he does have a slender frame, but that comes with time. He has the broad shoulders and the build to truly fill out in the NBA, so I don't really think that's going to be much of a problem going into next season. But this season, the Minnesota Timberwolves threw him into defensive fire, playing him on the best wing players of the other team, putting him in the pick and roll as the drop defender or the switcher in any single role. His job was to disrupt the other team's offense as much as possible while using his length to create some hard shots for anybody else that truly tries to pull up over him. Overall, the man has every single tool to be an elite defender in the NBA, and he's already shown that he can be one given the time, and is definitely the largest part of what makes him great. But also, he's very good on the offensive end. While there's a lot to love about Jaden McDaniels on the offensive end, there's also a little bit of concern. His shooting numbers took a dramatic dip this season as an off-ball scorer, which probably is going to be his main role on this team with scorers like Anthony Edwards, Colin Anthony Towns, and D'Angelo Russell on here. And his three-point shooting from his rookie season went from 36% to his sophomore year to 32% this season. Overall, there's a little bit of concern there, but also it's good to note that young players in the league after a full season in the NBA, teams normally get some film on you, and you probably do struggle in the first half of next year because now you're actually have film on you and teams are planning for you specifically in games. And Jaden McDaniels' shooting numbers throughout the year only got better as he adjusted to his new defensive attention, going from 29% from 3 in the first half of the season, which again, I know the sample size difference is about 50 games to 11, and then the All-Star break he shot over 39% from 3. I understand, again, it's only 11 games, but isn't good to know that this is normally something that happens for a lot of young players in the league, and he's only shown improvement since that point. But it's also good to know that the man has some really nice good shooting mechanics and some really nice touch around the rim, so that normally translates to probably somebody developing normally into a pretty good shooter, and he already has a smooth rim jumper as it already is, so I don't think there's going to be much concern on that end of the ball. And you don't really expect him to produce crazy amounts offensively because you just really need him to fit in that dunker spot while spreading the floor and helping this team space out and give Rudy Gobert a lot of space to work in the paint as the defender and as a lob option. So overall, Jaden McDaniels is not only the perfect forward for this team, he fits all the roles that Vando probably left for him, and he may be able to do it to an even better level while being a competent offensive option on this team that can space the floor. So overall, let me know what you guys think in the comments section down below. Do you think Jaden McDaniels is the key for this team next season, along with, you know, the developments of somebody like Anthony Edwards, of course? But do you expect him to make an all-defensive team at some point in his career? Because it looks like he can have that type of potential if he's able to, you know, lower those foul rates a little bit and get better. But let me know what you guys think in the comments section down below. It's FLB. That's my time. I'm out.